Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andressa.
So on today's episode, ladies, you are on for an immense treat. We have Crystal Dwyer Hansen on our show today. She's an international speaker. She's an entrepreneur. She's also a real estate investor. And her and her husband, Mark Victor Hansen, just wrote a book called Ask. And it's all about asking questions. You probably know Mark Victor Hansen from the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And between the two of them, they've written 30 books. And she added so much value to our show today around asking questions, how to ask them, when to ask them, and just everything around that. So Andressa, wasn't she amazing?
Oh my gosh, we could have been interviewing her for hours. So what Crystal, she did, she broke down who you need to ask the question. So it starts with asking yourself, asking others, and asking God. And she was very, very specific with, if you don't believe in what's going to happen in your head first, there's nothing that's going to make that happen. And as in real estate, we all need architecture drawings to do things. So the same thing happens to our lives. Creating that architecture structure is a must. And this episode is full of specific tips on how can you accomplish that.
Yeah, so, you cannot miss this one.
No, absolutely not. Enjoy it.
Welcome back, ladies. This is Liz.
And this is Andressa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Investor Show. And if this is your first time with us, we are so excited you're here. You came to the right place. We are all about helping women create a financially free and balanced life. And if this is your repeat podcaster with us and someone who loves our podcast, thank you. We're always, give a shameless plug. Please leave us a review. It helps get the word out about what we're up to and really all about our mission is to support women in this world, just get more out of, everything. So, Andressa, am I forgetting anything what I just said?
No, okay. It's funny because I receive a lot of emails from the ladies that are listening, and it's usually like, listen, I'm listening to you right now. I just woke up and I was with you for the past 2 hours. And they say like that, I was with you.
Yeah, with you personally.
They feel that we are together. So when I meet them in person, it's as if we already knew each other. So sometimes they come and they say, oh, so how is your son? Or how is everything with your mom or anything else? I was like, how do you know that? So it's very funny. And we love and we appreciate all the feedback that you guys are giving it to us. So if you're listening right now in the car, at the gym, feel free to give us all the feedback because we really love and appreciate that.
Yeah. And we are so, so, so excited to have today's guest on our show. We are so pleased and appreciative. Crystal Dwyer Hansen. She is an author, a coach. She's going to get into her story here in a moment. But thank you so much for being with us, Crystal.
Oh, Liz, my pleasure. Thank you both. I'm so happy to be here with both of you. And it's so fun to hear about your audience being so engaged, because I think podcasts right now are so important to people, given what we've gone through over these past few months. Everything just became so uncertain. So since we're having to social distance, it's just a way for us to stay connected and together in a way. So really happy to be here with you guys.
Well, we have so many questions for her. They just released, her and her husband, Mark, just released a book. She's a multiple author of various books and programs. So we have just personally and selfishly, right? We always have tons of questions for ourselves. But we're going to jump into it in a moment. We always like to kind of connect with our audience and just to kind of share a little tip, a little something that's come up for us in the last week. So this morning I was straightening up and in the bathroom and I smelled something. And, obviously not to get too gross here, but you're in the bathroom. I was just like kind of straightening up. My kids just leave toothpaste everywhere. You know how that goes.
Right.
And it smelled almost like a porta potty. And I'm like, it's weird.
What?
So So then I went to the garbage and I saw a bunch of tissue and I'm like, Sammy must have done some, my daughter's 3, right? She's still figuring things out so it just didn't smell right. I cleaned it up. I got some bleach and not bleach, but I just cleaned up, put it outside.
You're Italian, you get bleach.
I know, I do. Yes, I love vinegar. I love vinegar. But anyway, I clean with vinegar. It's awful. It always smells like vinegar in my house. But anyway, so I'm doing this and I go back and I said, Sammy, remember, honey, you have to put your toilet paper in the toilet. And she goes, that wasn't me. And I'm like, Zachary's like, oh yeah, I peed in the garbage. And I'm like, okay. So literally this bathroom is a small bathroom, right? Like there's a toilet and then the garbage, like they're literally right next to each other. So I said, my son's 6, right? He knows how to pee in the bathroom. And he goes, yeah, just thought it'd be fun to pee in the garbage this time. I'm like, honey, it smells like a porta potty now in our bathroom. And now I have to like disinfect everything. Don't do that again. He's like, all right. Yeah, I just kind of got confused and, I thought it'd be fun. So I'm sharing this on a real estate investing podcast because it made me think about how we often have to get reminded of things. Like we know things, like my son knows how to pee in the toilet, right? So it's not like he's like, he didn't really get confused. He just wanted to do something different. Who knows? And he needs to be reminded of something, right? So then I thought about my own life, right? Because I always kind of bring it back. And I'm like, we all need to get reminded, right? There's things that we know, but we may not be doing, right? Or we may not do as consistently as we'd like to, whether it's cold calls, whether it's, looking for property on a consistent basis, whether it's, making sure our finances are in order, whatever that is for you. But it just reminded me that sometimes the obvious things we need to be reminded of. And, it just was a funny little story I wanted to share too.
I totally agree. And that happened to me actually yesterday because I was feeling overwhelmed with my to-do list that rapidly grow by the minute. And then I came across a video from Mel Robbins explaining the importance of brain dump and really like taking everything from your brain, putting on a paper. And I thought, okay, but I have my to-do list, but I didn't brain dump as if she was recommending to do at the end of the day and really like selecting what are the 3 things that I'm going to focus on.
Yeah.
I am a high achiever, so I go for like 10 things, but I think that I'm doing a disservice to myself. And I shared that with the community because my brain also needs free time to recharge. And I love this concept of when my brain in that stage of recharge, I can feel the breath of God into me with the ideas and creativity and different things. So I was like, that makes sense. So I am time blocking time to do nothing.
Good stuff.
It's challenging for me, but I am committed to do that.
I love it. And it's such a perfect segue into who we have on here today, because Crystal is an expert in so many of these areas in terms of just high performance, right? And so let's get into your story and all the amazing things we want to ask you and get into. So we always like to share, we always kind of kick things off is tell us a little bit about, tell the women listening a little bit about who you are and how you, got into coaching and where you are today.
Yeah, so I'm a transformational life coach and a clinical hypnotherapist, and I actually used to be in real estate. And I just found that I was always coaching people, and you hear that, I think, from a lot of coaches. People would come in to buy a house, and I'd be like, I always, somehow I'm able to create really good rapport with people because I love people. I'm interested in people. And I think that's part of it, is being interested in people. We'll get into that a little bit more with the book that we have today. But yeah, so I just would find myself writing life plans and things like that. Then one day I was building a house and my cabinet guy came in and I said, Tony, the guy who was doing all my cabinets, and I'd known him for a while, I said, you look amazing, Tony. What did you do? He looked slim and fit. And he goes, well, I stopped smoking and I lost weight. And I was like, wait a second, those two things don't go together. How do you stop eating? You gain weight when you stop smoking normally. And he goes, I went to this guy who hypnotized me, listened to the audio for 30 days. And he goes, honest to God, I can go to a bar now. I don't crave cigarettes. And I was like, but what about the weight part? How did you stop? And he said he hypnotized me so that I wouldn't crave food, that I just want to drink water. And he goes, it's amazing. It's worked so well. So I'm like, my sister had been a smoker from the age of 15. Wow. I said, I'm going to fly her over here. I'm going to get her into this guy. She was on board. So we did it. Same thing. Listened to, he did a hypnosis on her, and she listened for 30 days, quit smoking altogether. And I thought, I was so fascinated because I've always believed that, the human mind is capable of rapid change if you understand how to do it, if you use your mind correctly. And I was hooked. I had actually gone back to school to get my degree in psychology, but I decided to go another pathway. I went to the largest holistic college in the country and studied life coaching, hypnotherapy. I was like, I have to learn this. I love the idea that if you could stop smoking, what other behaviors could you change? What other things could you implement? What other things could you let go of in your life? And then come to sort of what I call the 0 point, so you can create what you want, the behaviors you want, essentially the life you want. And I've just enjoyed what I'm doing so much. When I wrote my first book, that's how I met Mark. I was writing a book called Pure Thoughts for Pure Results. I'm redoing that book. It's not really available right now, but I was having so many amazing breakthroughs with my clients. I started seeing people and instantly, it was immediate. I thought, I'm going to have to warm up to this and I'll get better at it and be able to help people more and more as I go on. It was instant. Like, I don't know if it's just the rapport that we were able to have together, or just that I loved what I was doing so much, or that people were so willing, but all of those things came together. And I remember this woman that came to me, she was one of my earlier clients. She'd heard me on a radio show talking about what I was doing. And she called and said, you know what, you're my last hope. I've been depressed all my life. I want to kill myself every day. So I said, Kathy, come in, let's see what we can do. So when I did her intake, her story was very sad. She grew up in a depression. Her mother was mentally ill. She had these memories of her mother, like grabbing her by the ankle and swinging her around and releasing her into the refrigerator. And her next memory was mom leaving forever, just walking out the door saying, I'm done, never coming back. So left her with her dad, she and 2 other little girls. A few months later, he couldn't handle it. He loads them in the truck, dumps them off at the relative and said, I can't raise girls. You're going to have to do this. So her sense of rejection and worthlessness were so profound that she would wake up every day feeling like, she goes, I just wake up every day feeling like I should die, like I shouldn't be here. I don't have a right to be here. And so after 5 appointments, I got the most amazing letter from her email. And she said, Crystal, I am so thankful for that day you came into my life and I heard you on the radio. She goes, I honestly can say that I know I am completely free of the crushing depression I've experienced my entire life. And now I, can wake up and have a bad day and it's just a bad day. And so the power of the work is what is so intriguing to me. I love this work. And I'll do it my entire life. It's not even what I make the most money in my life. I make more money in real estate, but it's what I love to do. It's like my heart passion. So yeah, I'll let you comment before I get into the book. I don't want to.
So I just, part of the work that we do in real estate, it's 3 pillars. We usually say we are here to empower women to live a financially free and balanced life, not just teaching them about strategies to invest in real estate, but our other 2 pillars are the business strategies and the self-care. And the self-care, under self-care, we have the mindset and the how healthy you are in different aspects of your body, your mind, your soul, all together. And I think that in real estate, a lot of people, including me, raise my hand, right? We are all on this journey of really getting down the real estate part and neglecting the other one. But throughout my experience, I have found that my mindset and my emotional being have direct correlation to what I attract to my life and how I deal with things. So it's not a matter of what happens, but how I react to it. So for the ladies that are listening and they're like, okay, what are you guys talking about? Like, this is some juju thing, or is this real? I don't have too much time in my life. I'm wearing different hats. So for that woman that is so overwhelmed with so many different things, how can she get started on taking care of herself, of her emotional, physical well-being?
Right. That's a great question. Andressa, so that's exactly why Mark and I wrote the book. And so if for those of you who don't know, my husband is the author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. Just wanted to mention that. So he and I wake up every day and we have sort of this jam session of meditation, prayer, sort of setting our day, setting the tone for our day. And, the idea for this book, this is our new book. It's called Ask: The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. And the reason we wrote this book is because we started noticing, we get to meet so many amazing people all over the world all the time. And the difference between those who are like massively successful and those who are just kind of falling short of their success, it's not that these guys are any smarter, any more talented, have any leg up on anything. It's really, we said, if it comes down to one thing, it's the ability to ask for what you want in life. And as it turns out, as we started doing these interviews for the book, we found that all of the people who have really great success, and it can be success in anything, your career, relationships, health and wellness, even your life purpose and your spiritual life, those people have become master askers. And so the distinction we made was that there are 3 channels through which you need to learn to ask. And those are ask yourself, ask others, and ask God. And each one of those is equally important because each one rounds out your journey. And the subtitle of the book is The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny, because what happens is we all have these dreams locked in our hearts, but often they kind of lay dormant if we're not asking, if we're not moving to the next step. And asking is like its own language. It's like it's the only thing that has the ability to deliver a new solution, a new understanding, a new plan, a new breakthrough. And it seems like such a simple thing, ask. But it honestly, when we talk to people, people don't do it enough. We're not deploying. It's a simple tool we're all born with. In fact, as children, we're born, if you think about it, as master askers. We come into this world wanting to know what, why, who, when, where. And we also want more, more, more. We're always asking for more. But then over time, through life, through rejection, we go to, parents tell you to stop asking. You go to school, don't ask unless you're called upon. You go to work, the military, your boss is the authority, stop asking questions. And so we really do, as human beings, we get shut down in our ability to ask. We get scared to ask. And until you learn to embrace, the asking journey, things don't change much for you. It's really a miraculous thing if you're able to do it. And I'll let you comment to that.
No, I love that. I mean, it's also I love that. Ask God, ask yourself, ask others. So let's take that same woman, Andressa, you were just mentioning, not that same woman, but, a lot of women we come across that we talk to and are in our community and listen to our podcast. And, they wear like 95 hats and they want more of this, but they have responsibilities and then just their head spins, or, we should say they, just have a lot on their plate. So I think part of it too, tell me if I'm off here, Crystal, too, is like taking a step back and going, what do I want? That's probably one of the first questions, right? I mean, and then, you're much more of an expert than I am here, but it's like, and then you can start to, okay, so what do I want? What's working for me? What's not? I mean, so that woman that's overwhelmed, what would be some initial questions? What could be some initial inquiries?
Right. Well, exactly what you're saying, because the ask yourself part, you always need to start with that. Okay. Because that is what we call the reflective journey, right? You cannot know where you're going unless you know where you are now. And a lot of times we just keep hurling through life, like an out of control planet through space and not stopping and asking ourselves these questions. Okay. What do I want? Am I happy with this? What's working well? What's not working? Is this where I want to be right now? Or where do I want to be? and all of these questions. So, and I say there are like 3 critical phases of questions, because so many questions can unfold under those phases depending on your personal situation, because we're all in a little bit different situation. But those phases of questions are, where am I now? That's critical. That's like critical phase number 1. Critical phase number 2 is, where do I want to be? I mean, oftentimes we don't ever stop to determine that. And if you don't determine that, you don't have a plan for your life. I can promise you, if you don't know exactly where you want to be, you're not going to get there, because that creates the architecture for your life plan. You have to have architecture before you build this life. You have to have architecture before you build your house, right? But before you build your building, you have to have architecture for your life. So the second phase is, where do I want to be? I have to know that. And all of those sub questions that come under that, depending on what your situation is. And the third critical phase, and this is so important, is, what actions will I need to take to get there? Because once you've determined these 3 things, where am I right now? Where do I want to be? And I want these, for the listeners, take your time with this, really explore it. Just keep asking yourself these questions that unfold under each of these categories. And then, what action steps will I need to take there? And it's a magical process, because you will start to illuminate the truth to yourself. I mean, there is no mechanism in life that has the ability to reveal what is hidden like asking. Okay. And if we don't stop and take the time to do it, we're just going to keep hurling through space.
That is so true. So when people ask themselves, where do I want to be? I know several people that don't have that clear. And their first thing is that I don't know yet, because I don't know what I am really passionate about. What is my purpose in life? They might have a vision, but they're just, I don't know, doing real estate because other people are doing real estate. And there's no really passion to do that. Right? But they are in that stage. They're like, I don't know what is my purpose, and I don't really know how to figure that out. So what would you say to them? What are the things that they can do in order to figure it out, their purpose? Because I do believe, I completely agree with you. If there's no roadmap, you might want to go to California, but you might end up in Florida because you just, let the wind take you there. So how they can figure it out, their vision, and make sure, okay, I feel good about that. Is there an expectation about the feeling, or is just an imagination thing? How do they know if that's what it is?
Right. That is a great question. And so to get more granular with your questioning, just ask yourself, if I'm already rich and successful, what am I doing? Okay, just pretend, and this is where imagination comes in. And we have the section in the book called How to Prepare to be a Good Asker, okay? And those 3 steps are, the first 3 steps are belief. Number 1, you just have to, and some people go, well, how do I get belief? How do I get belief? I'm just asking you to suspend your disbelief, okay? Just say, I believe. So belief that your answers are out there for you, and belief that you deserve your answers. Okay. So believe that the answers are out there, believe you deserve those answers. The second step is action. I mean, when you start to get these little illuminations, these ideas that start coming to you, you need to get up off the couch and take some action. Okay. Let that spur you to the next action. Okay. Because that's feedback from the universe, from God. Like, okay, yeah, that's what I need to do. So action, belief, then action, and then visualization, okay? And that is like really deploying your imagination in a big way, because so often our left brain, our analytical brain is going to talk us out of things. Like, you'll start thinking of things and your left brain will tell you, you can't do that. That won't work because of this. The economy's bad right now. You can't be successful, blah, blah, blah. I just read something on the news that said these facts and these. You literally have to let go of that and go into this almost what I want to say is this imaginary world, because your imagination is so powerful. And it's important to use your imagination to help create the architecture, to create the template that is going to help you fulfill your dreams. It really, really will. Nothing happens until it happens inside your mind first. I guarantee that. And so if what's happening in your mind is all of these things that your left brain's telling you, and all that, you're taking in all this negative news, and it's telling you this can't work, that can't work, everything's bad, you're literally creating that architecture. So you need to take a break away from that, because that is programming your template, giving you the exact opposite template, giving you the exact opposite program to what you want. So go into that imaginative space and pretend, say, I'm already massively successful in my life right now. Okay. So you're not taking someone else's model. Stop looking at someone else. Oh, I need to be like her. I need to wear the same clothes she wears. That's what success looks like. No, it isn't. That's not what success looks like. I want you to go into yourself. There's only one you. And so ask yourself, what does my ultimate success look like? Because you're the only one who knows. And you may be surprised. It may not be, oh, I want $100 million. It's going to be your version of success, but go to your ultimate success. If I'm my ultimate riches, my ultimate success, what does that look like? What am I doing each day? Who am I talking to each day? How do I feel about my life? What are the things that I enjoy each day? What are my as this rich, successful, balanced person, what do I enjoy about my day? Who am I talking to? What plans am I making? All of those questions that unfold, but go to the place where you're already there. Go into that imaginative place where you're there already.
I love that, Crystal. And I think about my own life, and I know that when I've done that, and then you evolve and you achieve some things, and you have to keep doing that, right? Because your life is evolving, right? Your goals have evolved. And I think, I think sometimes we all could just make that sure we're doing that consistently, right? Because what I wanted 10 years ago might look differently than now. You said something very interesting, and I think it's a very important thing with women, especially. Mm-hmm. You said you have to believe, and you have to believe that you deserve what you're getting. And that deserve word is a big one for women. I know it's a big one, maybe it's just me, but and
all women,
there's a lot around that. Right. And even women saying, I want this type of life so that I can leave a legacy. And they almost feel bad if they say, and I really want a nice car too, or I really want this. Now, that kind of stuff, there's certain things that are important to us, right? I rank travel higher than this, and that's all good. But I think certain women have this deserving thing around wealth and money, and just you fill in the blanks. So how do you, that they sit down, and we're almost bringing them through this process, right? They're envisioning what that ultimate success world, what are they saying? What are they doing? Who are they with? How are they contributing, right? Because that's a big one for women. But how do they move through that deserving, I've called a block. I don't know what it is, but that's a big one. And I don't know. I mean, that's a tough one for a lot of women. That's a block for a lot of women. So what have you done or seen with the work you've done?
Well, it's funny, Liz, that you just said it's a block, because in the book, we talk about the 7 roadblocks to asking.
That's one of them.
And these are just so important for women to look at. And we have some amazing stories around each of the roadblocks. And I promise you, when you get this book and you read these stories, you're going to see yourself in some of these stories. And we found, what Mark and I discovered is that, we all have at least one, if not more, of these roadblocks. And those are unworthiness, which is just conditioning from our childhood that kind of leaves us feeling like we don't deserve more, right? Naivete, like maybe we just grew up in an environment where we weren't exposed to things that, it just wasn't our programming. So we're just not aware that it's even there for us. Doubt, where, it's just this subtle underlying thing that I just doubt this is going to come out okay. And you just have this underlying doubt all the time that just holds you back from just asking or exploring more or being curious about things. The other one is excuses, which is sort of a stubbornness that people have, like, no, I don't need that. I'm fine where I am, and it's kind of a stubborn pride where I'll just accept this misery because, I'm too stubborn and I'm too proud to ask for help, or I'm too proud to ask for anything different. I'm just going to make excuses. And then there's just fear, which is the sheer terror of rejection. And I think that comes down to, a human being's need for love and approval. And especially women, we always want that approval. And so it's almost like some women have they're terrified of asking for anything more, even terrified for asking things for yourself, like the car. Yeah, I want the brand new Tesla, or I want whatever, because of rejection or lack of approval. And the next one is pattern paralysis. And a lot of us get into this where you just keep repeating the same disappointing patterns and not stopping. You don't stop to ask yourself, is this really working? What's going on here? What does this pattern look like? And why is this pattern dysfunctional? And then the last one is disconnection. And I think, honestly, that's the saddest one of all for me, because that means you've just literally become disconnected from the dreams in your heart. And that's sad. And it's sort of an apathetic state where it just doesn't matter anymore. And gosh, if you're in that state, I just encourage you to just start asking the questions, because it can start opening you up. Everyone deserves to move toward their ultimate destiny. And I really do think everyone has an ultimate destiny, and I think your destiny unfolds for you as it goes. It's like a path that just continues to unfold. And that's why we call it that bridge, the destiny bridge. But we really have to get down and start asking those questions, ask ourselves, ask others, and ask God.
Yeah. So we're recording this episode in July 1st, and we're still in the middle of a pandemic. So this pandemic and the quarantine and everything that came with it, I think that it also brought a lot of good opportunity for people to get in touch with themselves, because they have a little bit of more time, and other folks didn't. But at the end of the day, a lot of people either got in touch to what they really want to do, and really like, okay, I want this. And the other portion is like, I don't want to go back to that.
Yes.
So I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And it's great, because I think this is my personal opinion. A lot of people are just like zombies, are not aware of what they want, and they just wake up, brush their teeth, go to their 9-to-5 job, get into the subway, come back with their bag, khaki pants. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I just feel that if that person has a passion. I know somebody that he's so passionate about sport. Yeah. He's an accountant. He should be totally in a broadcast TV talking about sport, because he knows everything. He lights up. I don't know if he knows his passion, right? And I was like, I might have to have this conversation with him about it. I don't know if he's hearing himself. Right. But a lot of people that are coming to that like crossroads, right? And then comes to fear. They're like, okay, I figured out, I really like to do this, but I have financial responsibilities, or I have other things or blocks, right? What are the baby steps to start crossing that bridge that they can do it? Is it a matter of making a decision, or is there other things that they can do small, but moving towards that goal?
Right. Such a good question. And I love the guy you were describing. Is this like a typical example of like pattern paralysis? You say we get on the, get up every day, go to the subway, do this. It's just, we're just paralyzed by our own patterns. So we're not really moving toward our dreams. I love that. But yeah, the baby steps. I mean, it's interesting. This pandemic, like you said, has revealed a lot to people. And when we released this book, oh my gosh, what a nightmare. It's like the release date was April 28th. Wow. Right in the middle of a pandemic. So we have this conversation with our publisher. We're hearing like our friends, like all their books are getting postponed to the fall, till after this is over. So we have this conversation. And in that conversation, we all decided, our publisher said, look, I think this horse has already left the gate. I think we need to move forward. And we all agreed to do that. And thank God we did, because this book, it seems, I swear it's a God thing. People have needed this book so much right now at this time. You cannot believe the feedback we're getting. Like, this is the tool I needed, because like you were saying, Andressa, we're home, we're looking at ourselves. We have an opportunity to slow down a little bit. It's time to ask the questions. It's time to look at, this asking process and read the stories and figure out how that fits into your life, because you are going to, get illumination. You're going to start to see how, these stories are a little bit similar to what's going on in your life. And all of the methods that we talk about in there are just sort of a guidepost to keep you moving. And it is little steps. That's why we need to start asking. We need to use this process every day. We need to just learn to be better askers.
Yeah. And I found, especially just because I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, when I still say, Zachary, why did you do that? Because I said it this morning, like, why did you pee in the garbage? Right. And then I said, Liz, you know better. Why is not the question I want to ask. Yeah. Right. What about what was going on made you want to pee in the, so it's the why and the what, something, right. I'm sure your book, which I have read. It's an amazing book. All of your books are amazing, you and your husband. So highly, highly, highly recommend you guys getting it. But it's so much about the words we use, right? And it's when you ask a different question that actually is empowering, like what or how, because even now it's like Andressa and I are, we're growing our community. There's a lot of things happening. We have so many amazing opportunities. And then my mind goes, can we do this? Right? Versus, how can we do this? Right. And I'm victim to it too. It's like, and I know this stuff, I know better, right? I've read the books, I've done the training, and I'm like, I don't think we can do this versus how can we, and I just a slight word, but that word and the words that you so eloquently said in the book and the questions make a difference because your mind only will answer what you ask it. Right. I mean, you know better than me, but that's pretty as basic as it gets,
Oh, I love that you shared that, because you're exactly right, Liz. People say, can you ask the wrong question? Yes, you can ask the wrong question.
Right.
What am I going to do when I fail? Or how am I going to, all of these things. I mean, Mark tells a story about, how can I go bankrupt? Because people don't realize that about him. Most people who are massively successful have been through tremendous trials and tribulations. Each of us have in our own different ways, but he went bankrupt. Out of graduate school, he was trying to be someone else. He was trying to be Buckminster Fuller, whom he studied with in graduate school. And that brought him, when he was on his knees, when he had lost everything, lost $2 million in like a day. He was sleeping in a sleeping bag outside of his friend's room because he couldn't afford anything. That's when he started asking the questions, what am I really meant to do? Did I even like what I was doing? And the answer was, no, not really. What do I love doing? And when he started saying, what do I love doing? He's like, I love speaking to people. I love speaking to people about things that matter, that make a life-changing difference. And when he got that epiphany, it changed everything. So, it's asking yourself, and then he asked others. So he ran out to his roommates and said, do you know anybody who's a speaker? And then they directed it to some guy. Well, that one connection, that guy connected into these other guys. And so it's step by step, we get connected by asking ourselves, asking others. Well, once this guy connected him, he connected to a whole network of people, started training in the insurance industry, and was one of the top trainers and speakers in the insurance industry. And from there, his message was so well received that he said, why don't I put this in a book? Ask the right question. He did. And from that year, he went from making like $75,000 from speaking, and training insurance to tripling his income from the book. He sold, 20,000 copies at $10 from the stage, and he made $200,000 that first year. So it's like, that is what life is. It's like driving, when I'm driving down the road at night, if I'm driving from Arizona to California, I can't see all the way to California, right? My headlights only let me see the next, whatever, 300 feet. But that's what the question and answers do. Okay. They let you see the next step, the next 300 feet. So you keep asking, you get that answer, you go that far, you ask the next question. Don't stop asking. That's why this is truly the most simple yet powerful tool you'll ever have. And you just have to remember to use it. And then I wanted to talk about the asking others part, because I think that's really important. We did a lot of research for this book. And it's funny, people going into these studies pretty much have the same perception that if they ask people for things, for help or favors, the perception is that they're going to appear to be pushy, obnoxious, so they hold back, they don't ask. The perception is that if they ask too many questions, they'll appear to be stupid, ignorant, uninformed. So they don't ask the questions, right? This is what most people going into the study did. But the studies, multiple, revealed that you are 80% likely to get your request granted if you just ask. 80% more likely. Those are great odds. So it's important to not hold back, to ask. And you may get rejection, but you're one step closer to getting your answer, to getting what you want. Mm-hmm. And there's a very high likelihood that you will get what you want. So keep asking. The other study showed that people who ask a lot of questions are perceived as more interesting and more likable. So don't hold back. When you don't have information or you think you're going to look stupid or uninformed, go ahead and ask, because that is how human beings bond. When we ask one another things, it creates this bond between two human beings. We're each other's best resource. So it's a really remarkable thing, asking. And it can serve us so well if we're willing to do it and just get over the roadblocks and start asking.
I love that. And the third thing that you mentioned is about asking a higher power, God, universe, whatever you name it. And I love that, because I am a firm believer on that. And I get my answers. Liz knows that. I get all my answers and insights that just come to my head while I'm taking a shower. So every time that I take a shower and I get out of the shower and I run in my towel to get a piece of paper, my mom knows that I just need 5 minutes to really dump that idea into a paper, because it just comes to me. But I don't know if that's just me. So for the ladies that are listening, they're like, what the hell is happening? So when they ask the universe and God, how do they know how the response comes? What have you guys seen it? How do they know? Is this a real response from the universe or from God or a higher power?
Right. No, I love the question, because it's such an important part of our lives too. And what we found is the people who, most of the time, I would say 99% of the time, people who achieve great success and have had, a great sense of happiness and satisfaction and success in their lives, have this connection to God, higher power, and utilize that regularly, check in regularly. Because what I love about the asking God part, for me, it takes it off myself. Okay. Because sometimes we literally become so self-obsessed. We're like all wrapped up in ourselves, what we're doing wrong or right. And when we ask God, my favorite question is like, show me, God, will you please show me how to be the best expression of myself for which you made me? You're the creator of all. Show me how I can express what you made me to be. Show me how I can express that in the way that will serve myself, my family, and everyone around me. And when you do that, it's sort of like pulling back the camera lens. If you're focused on some little annoying thing, or problem, when you pull back that camera lens and put it in this large universal perspective, it's like, what is my contribution to the universe? What is my contribution to this beautiful kingdom you created? What is my kingdom purpose? And if we all approach life that way, it just seems a lot nicer. It seems like there'll be a lot more cohesiveness, cooperation, understanding, and, just a greater sense of happiness.
Yeah. And I love that too, Crystal, because I feel like, one of the things that I'm even just personally taking away is we make time to work out. We make time to meditate. I do. And I make time to pray. I love that you have a jam session. I might have to steal that and start doing that with my husband. I like that. But it's so important, but yet do we make enough time on a daily basis to ask questions about where we need to be and where we are and what, just that kind of that emotional question asking is what I'm hearing too. And I feel like, I don't know about the ladies listening, but people don't stress that enough, right? We're like, make time for this, take that, and then you're just checking it off, check, I meditated, check, prayed, check. It almost becomes like literally just checking things off. And then you end it and you're like, I don't really feel any differently than I started, because it's a process, right? It's a feeling. It can't just be like, I check these things off and I got self-care, good. My mindset's good. Awesome. Let me start the day. I don't know about anyone listening or all of you, but it doesn't work like that for me. But by asking questions, like you're saying, I think it's so powerful, especially at the beginning of the day. And at the end of the day, especially as your mind's working, people say like that nighttime is probably the best time to ask yourself empowering questions, because your mind's going to be kind of, subconsciously or however that works, be working. So true. Ladies, make time for it, because no one's going to do it for you. It's like working out. No one's going to make time for the people to come over and literally move your body for you. I mean, unfortunately, I don't know about, you need a personal trainer, but they don't even do that, right? They don't even actually move your body for you. You got to do it yourself. So use this amazing book as your personal trainer to ask the right questions, and it's amazing, Crystal. We have to have you back on, because I there's so many other things to jump into, but you've been an amazing resource here and an amazing, really eye-opening. And it's, like you said, simple, but profound. So ladies, definitely get this book. But Crystal, where can the ladies listening learn more about you, learn more about all the great things you and your husband are up to?
Yeah, please connect with me on, I'm at Crystal Dwyer Hansen on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. So I love connecting with people, and I really try to communicate with people. So connect with me. Let's stay in touch. Let's build, a better community of women who are strong, who can ask the right questions and really create the success we want, because I think women really do set this tone for society in a really beautiful way. And yeah, get the book, ask. I'd love for you to read it. We're doing this really cool thing because we want to be more of a resource to people. When you buy the book, if you go to askthebookclub.com, we'll invite you. We're going to be doing this really cool, free to everybody book club, because we want to keep the discussion going. It's important. We want to be a resource to people. So yeah, buy the book on Amazon. It's just amazon.com. Ask the bridge from your dreams to your destiny. And then go to askthebookclub.com and join us for this amazing book club. Yeah, and connect. I also have some resources at crystalvisionlife.com. If people are suffering with anxiety, depression, I've got some guided visualization audios there that use, some powerful hypnosis techniques that really help you shift, starting over, garden of new beginnings, all those things. So check those out too. But yeah, I hope to see you at Ask the Book Club and hear back on the book.
That's awesome. And for all of you listening, all this information you guys are going to find on our show notes. Now we're going to transition to our fabulous 3 questions. And the first one, Crystal, is what's the most transformational book you have ever read?
Most people haven't heard of this book. It's called The Molecules of Emotion by Candace Pert. I'm kind of a geeky scientist, but she was nominated for a Nobel Prize for her work. What she discovered was that in our human body, when we feel things, when we feel emotions, that chemistry cascades through our entire body. And it stores memory. Okay. So that's why it's so important to spend this time working on yourself, because negative emotions, fear, worry, constant fear, worry, and doubt literally create a more negative environment for your entire body. I just love that work because it's the physical evidence of what we're talking about. When we talk about these things, it's like, oh, thinking things, thoughts are just thoughts. Thoughts are real things that create real effects in your life. So that is really an incredible book.
Amazing. The second question is, what's the most powerful routine that you do to create a financially free and balanced life?
Honestly, the most powerful routine we do is our morning jam session, meditation, prayer, and just kind of asking each other those questions. It's so powerful. It changes everything. It sets the day to the right tone. So I really encourage it with everybody.
Great. And the last question is, which woman, famous or not, has inspired you the most?
Oh my goodness, different women in different ways. I'm a Mother Teresa lover because of her selfless service and strength. She wasn't a little pushover. She was tough. And, for women to get things done sometimes, as much as she came from love and service, there was a certain toughness about her that, just resilient and sort of relentless strength. And I think we can all learn from that.
That's awesome. She's one of my favorites too. Yeah. Crystal, thank you so much for being on our show. Thank you for all the work that you're up to. And, just appreciate you so much. Thanks for spending some time with us in our community.
Thank you. My pleasure. You were both just wonderful. So let's stay in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ladies.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share it with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.